Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day as always. We'll be getting started with our class today. We'll be going over the self-image and the image-making process. Today, we have Abraham and Taha that will be starting the class. Thank you.
How's everyone doing?
Amazing and grateful.
Wonderful. Awesome.
Any takeaways or aha moments yesterday? Questions?
Anything that anyone stopped themselves for a second and said, wait a minute, I need to be thinking differently. This is not what I have been learning. Have you had that moment?
Anybody have any questions as far as this image making process so far? Everybody should be questioning it, because if you're not understanding it. Action ideas to a definite end. When we're talking about the action ideas to a definite end, we think in images and we think in pictures. We've got to be thinking about the action ideas to this definite end, and that's towards the images that you're using, whether you're controlling the images or you're using old images. If you're using old images, you're using your old way of doing things. You're using what you know how to do. And we all know that if you're wanting to go somewhere where you've never been, you don't have cells of recognition. So there's no images there. Why would there not be any images? Want to give a little insight on that?
Yeah, well, first is because what I've seen is most of the people don't know what they want, and they don't know that they can have anything that they want, anything and everything. When you start understanding that you're an image maker, and you can start holding the image through the law of universe. One of the law of universe is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Any image that you hold and you stay there and you start taking action toward that image that you're holding and become one with that image, it's just a matter of time that you experience that in your physical life. So what does that mean? That means it's not going to work sometimes or times that you're holding image consciously. It's always working. You're always the image or energy, and you're always transforming them from energy to form, physic. So if you're not consciously, just like Abraham mentioned earlier, if you're not consciously doing that, your subconscious is turning the ideas and images that has been in your subconscious mind from birth to now. So you're always transforming those energy into your physic. That's why your reality is what it is. So anybody wants to know what their subconscious look like? Just look around. Look at your physics. Look at your results. Look at the way you dress. Look at how much money you make. Look at your friendship, your social relationship, your everything in your life. Even your setting in your house, the furniture in your house. the way you set it up, your curtains. Everything about you that you see right now is your subconscious. Those are the ideas that has been given to you, and you change them, you transform them from one form to another.
Yep. And you pluck those ideas out of your subconscious mind, and you see it in happenings all around you.
What we're talking about, what Abraham is talking about now, that we understand that we're always using, whether we want it or not, whether we're aware of it or not, we're using laws on the law of universe. And here we're talking about the law of the perpetual transmutation of energy and also cause and effect. So we want to change, we are product of, genetic conditioning and environmental conditioning. What we're wanting to do, we want to bring the awareness to the individual, saying that, hey, you're this powerful creature, that you are image maker. Now you can choose and decide what is it that you want to see and what do you want to experience in your physic. That's why we're talking about this subject.
Yeah, but everything starts from a higher to a lower vibration. The higher side of your personality is your thinking mind, your creative mind. The imagining side of who you are is naturally creative. Now, when we go to the lower side of ourselves, the lower side of ourselves is not as creative. We're more logical, right? Logic is your understanding of what you know how to do right now, right? So when you step into your logic, you're actually stepping into your program, which you know how. You're stepping into the subconscious mind. You're going directly into your filing cabinet and just pulling the order of a sequence of events, sequence of images. Somebody says cat, dog, TV, shovel, go dig a ditch. You're going to perform according to your logic, right? A lot of people say this word common sense. That's common sense. Why don't you have any common sense? Well, common sense it's the information of the people that you were around that was common. Now, if the information that individual you're asking to perform or do something, and it wasn't common to them, and it wasn't common sense to the people that they were around, they won't have that information, right? So common sense means it's the sense from the senses, right? The senses, your environment is from the senses, right? You pick up information from outside of you. Now, it will not be common if that individual was not raised around that way of doing things. So again, you're going back to the register, you're going back to the subconscious mind to pull the cells of recognition so that you can comprehend and understand your outside world. But what you're actually comprehending and viewing and seeing is a product, normally on average, it's a product of the past. You've already attracted yourself, you've already moved into a correlation of your common sense. You've already moved into a correlation of what you know how to do. You've already, if you're in your 20s to your 30s, you've already come to, on an average, you come to the extent of your what? Your program.
What you know how to do.
Yeah. So once you've reached what you know how to do, there's not much more further. This is why people are normally getting a little bit better results. They're moving just a little bit ahead because they're touching, but they're touching lightly towards a new direction, but they never really do move in the new direction. So they get to a point to where they've exercised as far as their fear will let them go. They've already stepped beyond the unknown as far as they could push to the limit. But once they hit that barrier, it is rare that somebody's going to really go and do much further than what they were programmed to do. Normally they push out just a little bit, but not much more.
Yeah. Let's talk about a little bit of what that individual needs to do. What individual needs to do when they're holding the image, as I explained, they're holding this image, they need to know what it is. They need to write a lot about it. And the reason of writing is very important because writing brings attention. And when you start writing, you start thinking. And when you start thinking, when you're thinking, you're not here. You're going to tap into your creative state. And when you start writing and getting emotion involved with that present, because the only time that we have is right now. When I'm saying right now, I'm not talking about our physics. I understand in the 3D world that we live in, we have a description of past, present, and future. The only time that we have in the other dimension that creation happens and we transfer it to a physics, is only one time. It's called now. When you start writing and you're assuming that your wish is fulfilled, you're writing and say, I'm so happy and grateful that I made $100,000 with ease. That has to come to pass. What does that mean? That means when you start writing and putting emotion to it, you start automatically affecting your creative power, and you start behaving and making decisions in a certain way to go and create what you think has already happened. Because when you do that, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and unreal. Whatever you're giving into it and whatever you're emotionalized with it for your universe, which is your universal subconscious mind, it's real. So what it does, according to what you think is real, and you keep persisting and assuming that what you want has already happened, your reality is going to take form from what you think is real. So what do you need to do? So the formula is you need to start holding that image, and regardless of what you see in your reality, you're not going to stop until what you see it here. What you see in your mind and what you assume that your wish will fulfilled, you see it in your reality. You want to stop until what you saw and what you wish and what you dream about and what you want and what you desire, you see it in your physics. It doesn't matter even if you fail 10,000 times, you keep holding that image. D. Wallace, he says in his book of Science of Getting Rich, he says, to think the truth regardless of appearances. What does that mean? That means it doesn't matter what your result is right now. It doesn't matter what you're going to face. It doesn't matter the obstacles that you encounter. The adversity is out there. You keep holding that image, and eventually that's going to come to a form in your physics.
And one of the biggest things as you're working towards that is, are you self-poised? Or does your balance work outside of you, right? Are you self-poised? We tell everybody to write down serenity and write it down for 90 days. Are you self-poised means you're going to be calm. Are you going to be calm? Are you going to look to understand? As you're working towards your goal, are you going to determine your own balance? Are you going to control your thoughts? Are you going to continually to work towards your vision? Or are you going to let the outside circumstances take control of the way you think? Are you going to let the outside circumstances control the way you feel? The majority of people are not self-poised. They're always letting the outside circumstances dictate the way they think, dictate the way they move, adjust themselves. Why would somebody do that?
Because that's how they have been conditioned.
Yep.
That's how their ancestors have been conditioned, to see what's going on outside and determine what they decide inside.
Correct. So we're, on a general rule of thumb, people are programmed to always look at the circumstances and then choose where they're going or what they're doing. That's the wrong way of doing things. That means you're letting the outside control your behavior. You're going to let the outside circumstances control the way you think. And this is the wrong way of doing things. You're going to always find yourself a victim of circumstances, a victim of what they said, a victim of how they've conditioned your mind. This is not taking responsibility. You're actually letting go of your power.
Yeah. That individual, what Abraham is saying is that individual or us, we haven't realized in depth that our reality, things that we're experiencing, are rearranging itself according to the way we think. So what does that mean? That means You create the circumstance. If you don't see one, you create them.
Yep.
How do you do that?
By being self-poised.
Do you guys know what self-poise means? Go ahead.
I don't know.
It was a Zoom.
Oh, okay. Do you want to touch on that, Abraham?
Yeah, being self-poised is you're controlling the flow. You're not going to let the outside control the inside. Self-poised means you're going to stop the thought and you're going to control the thought. Now, I'll give you guys a little story on being self-poised. One instance would be whenever this COVID stuff was going around. I don't listen to the news, I don't listen to the radio. Why? Because I don't want what they're getting. I don't want to get what they're getting. So I control what's coming into my area. And I control that by not listening, turning on the tube. I don't want to get what they have. Now the news, broadcasting on an average, it's normally feeding you things that don't serve you.
They create fear.
Yep. It wants to create fear and it wants to grab your attention, right? And if the things outside of you are always grabbing your attention, you're not focused. If everything outside of you is grabbing you and moving you, you're not self-poised. You're not controlling the flow. So I choose, remember I said this earlier, I choose everything I do. I do everything to a definite end. I live on purpose. Everything I do it on purpose. That means I'm self-poised. Maybe every now and then, something may try to grab me and take my focus away, but I go back. So we had news, this stuff about COVID going around. Tal called me, he said, no, this is really serious. You need to at least know what's going on. And he said everything was closing down and shutting down, what are we going to do? I said, no, we don't do what they do. No, we don't do what they do. Well, what I was saying was we don't let the outside control the inside. If everybody's running, everybody's closing down, everybody's shutting down, we should be thinking about how we're going to improve, how we're going to help, and how we're going to create more balance. Because in chaos, somebody can bring order. This is the key. Always in chaos, there'll be a visionary. And the visionary always brings order. I said, our job is to bring order. In times of chaos, there's great opportunities for success because everybody else's mind is scattered. Everyone else's mind is not thinking anymore. They're operating out of fear, doubt, and worry. But if your mind is self-poised, you can direct the thought, and you can see and observe and understand, and then bring order. This is what we did. We started a company in the midst of all this, 2 companies. Why? Because we were self-poised. We did not let the outside control the inside. And then we looked, this is the key, we looked, how can we improve the stability of our company? How can we improve the well-being of our people? How can we keep them operating? How can we keep working? That's what we looked for, and this is what we found. Self-poised.
Can I add something real
Sure.
quick? Well, that was your vision, and I follow when that happened. But he mentioned something very important that I want everybody to, when you're listening, when you come into these calls or class, when you're listening, listen to understand. He said something very important that I want to touch on, and I think everybody here, not that I think, that should be a part of your every day, every second. You have 86,400 seconds during the day that you're always perpetuating. What he's saying, I go back to my purpose. I go back to my purpose. What does that mean? That means during the day, I have this image of what is it that I want. That's my purpose, right? Everything that happens that I'm hearing and seeing in front of me or in my physic, I let it go. And I go back to my starting point, which is my purpose. And I let that image guide me. Did you guys catch that? That means I'm not letting the outside circumstance, the things that are happening in my physic, which is dead matter. Thomas Trower talks about this all the time. Is a dead matter. I won't let it affect me where I'm going. It's just like we're like have you guys seen these rockets that the military rockets, when they launch it and they give that rocket a destination or a place to hit, that rocket moves around, but it comes back to its main route to eventually hits the target. It won't stop, or it won't hit another target somewhere else. That's what he's saying. If we start having that, holding that image of what we want, create that strong purpose.
Discipline.
A strong purpose, and be disciplined about it, and command ourselves and go and do it, and keep consistently coming back to the main route that where we need to go. We always move to, we always get distracted from on our way to our goal. But if we remind ourselves every day, that's why we have goal cards. I don't have my wallet. We have goal cards that you always remind yourself where you're going. What's your purpose? What is it that you're here? Why are you living the way you're living? And when you understand that you're giving your most valuable thing, which is your time, to your purpose, that's meaning of life. That's when you are fulfilled.
Feeling fulfilled.
Feeling fulfilled. So, if you don't have a goal card, get one. If you don't know exactly what is it that you want, start thinking about it. It comes to you. And start holding that. And always, just like Abraham said, always compare yourself to that. Not compare yourself. Look at that. What is it that you want? And ask yourself every minute, every second day, is this aligned with my purpose?
Am I doing things on purpose?
Am I doing things on purpose? If it's not, you have the answer. You know what to do.
Yep. If you're not doing things on purpose, then you're just reacting. And you're reacting to the circumstances again. And again, that means you're off target. So Taha hit it just right on the button. It's that GPS. If you're not on purpose, you're going in the wrong direction. If you didn't choose exactly what you're doing because this is what you really want to do, you're not on purpose. Mm-hmm. You didn't choose to go do what you're going to do today. You're doing it because you're reacting from the circumstances. If you didn't choose the lifestyle that you're living right now, then it's because you're reacting and you're giving your power to the circumstances. You don't believe in yourself. If you didn't choose to create your own company and build your own company and you're not doing that right now, if that was your desire and you really want to, then you're not doing things on purpose. You didn't choose, right? So this is going back to choices. This is going back to choosing. This is going back to deciding who I am is. And making that your starting point. Are we self-poised, or does our balance depend on something external? That's the key. How do I know if I'm on track or not? Did you choose? Is this your choice? Are you living the way you want to live? If you're not, then you're not on purpose. Are we self-poised, or does our balance depend on something external? What is it? It is what you desire. Am I living the way I want to live? Most believe everything is outside of themselves. And most believe everything is outside of themselves, right? Everybody believes that the things and the circumstances outside of them are happening too. No, it's happening for you. You're the cause. The outside is the effect. You are the cause. You are the effect. Everyone thinks that everything is outside of themselves. But in everything, there are two parts, the essential and the incidental. the essential and the incidental. So the result is the incidental. The cause is the essential. You attracted that. That which is the nucleus of the whole thing, and that which gathers around the nucleus takes form from it. That's what we did. Something was trying to take our focus away from the center. I said, nope, this is where we're going. And we focused back on how to improve life, how to improve our lives, how to keep our focus and our will going to where we want it to go. So we went back to the essential, and the incidental took care of itself. We created another business. We took care of the essential, which is our focus. And the incidental took care of itself. That which is the nucleus, the essential is the nucleus of the whole thing. And that which gathers around the nucleus and takes form from it. So life took form from our vision again. Everybody said, what are you doing? We're building another company. What do you mean you're building another company? That's what we're doing. We don't do, I don't want to get what they have. I don't like the results. So then that means I've got to be self-poised. I have to decide. I have to choose. I have to be disciplined. I have to be focused. In all affairs, there are two parts. In all affairs, there are two parts. The essential and the incidental. What are you doing? The cause and the effect. Anybody have any takeaways, thoughts?
Yes, good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you're absolutely right in every way. I'm just going to share just my own journey and what I have come to realize. You must have the responsibility and discipline to see everything that's going on around you to reach your definite end. For example, when I first was asked the question, who am I had an idea. I knew in a certain aspect what I wanted to do. Then I went back and I started studying. I started studying the material. I started going through the process and allowing to question where does that understanding come from? Where is the reason why I want to do this? And I finally came to the cause, which it was correct in a certain way, but it was much smaller because I was thinking, my mindset was in the working man's boots. I had to take myself away from that. I had to break it down. And then I had my true vision. So I started leap forward in time and saw the businessman that I wanted to be. What he was thinking of, how he acted, how he started his day, and I started making it a reality. I started doing the studies. I started working hard. I started paying attention to my surroundings because at the time I didn't understand how much of the surroundings can affect you if you're not paying attention. So I literally took away all the televisions, all the distractions that was in my life. Who's talking to me? What is their state of mind being? What am I listening to? What type of music am I listening to? What are they talking about? What am I visually seeing? How is that affecting me emotionally? How am I allowing that to affect my thinking process? So I took it all out and I redid the program. I knew what I wanted to listen to, which I was only listening to instrumental music. So to spark my creativity, the only thing that I was visually looking at was my different books, my different studies. I started thinking, I started paying attention. I started taking the responsibility of the world I choose to be around me. I created it. And while I'm doing all this, I started working to my definite purpose, my definite end. And everything started coming to me, what I needed to do. What did this man in my journals did to get to the point where he is now? So the vibrations were already coming back. And my reality right now has started to make the line towards that target, to that the next nucleus. And in result, the meeting that I had already foreseen, that I planned out, was going to be on the 4th. I got a phone call, and here it is. You need to be here at 9 o'clock. We made the arrangements. Everything's happening accordingly to what I had already foreseen, because I was already in assumption it already happened. I already did all this. I am the businessman. I am this man, and I'm paying attention. I cannot let go of that paying attention. That's what we're talking about today. Is discipline. Be very aware. You got to have your vision, and you got to have the responsibility to go for it. And what are you plugging into that's influenced you to get to that vision? So I broke down all the old understandings, and every day in my movement, I move to that purpose. Every day I wake up twice as earlier than I ever have in my life. I wake up at 4 in the morning and I start studying. I wake up, do my routine, I start studying. I know that I have an on-call meeting. I make that on-call meeting. No matter what's going on, I make it. I listen, I hear it, and I go right back to my book. What did I just write down? Let's break it down again. Let's read it again. Let's read it again. Let's read it again. And every time I'm reading it again, a higher level of understanding is getting even more out of it. It's getting more out of it. So the pages are filling in. Reality is starting to go exactly where I wanted to be. For the first time, I'm happy. For the first time, I know exactly what I'm doing is right, because I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to see how me just changing my behaviors is changing others. It's making them question everything. And I'm not even trying to talk to them. I'm not even trying to teach anyone, because I'm still trying to learn myself. I'm always, will always be in a state of evolution, because my understanding is always evolving. And I just want to say, it's just an amazing, amazing feeling when you're truly going the way you really want to go, and you're making the circumstances, because they will come. It's just amazing.
Good.
Thank you.
That's great. Real quick, you talk about repetition. Repetition is very important, because that's
all there is.
That's all it is. It's very important. Through repetition, you can reprogram yourself. You want to looking for that word, interrupt. You want to interrupt what's been going on for years and years and years without thinking. And that interruption obviously happens when you're having a higher level of awareness, but that comes with a new information. Not only new information, repetition of that information.
Yep.
And that's very important, what he was saying. Another thing is, before you do something, I want everybody to pay attention to this part, because it's very important, and it took me a while to really understand it. Before you do something, you got to be something. Mm-hmm. So if what Abraham and I are talking about, self-image, you have to start thinking about who is it that you want to become. And you got to assume that you're already that person right now. And just like Abraham was explaining, you have to have that as your somebody that you want to become. And always compare yourself. Hey, is this person that I am right now, not I want to be, that I am right now, does this behavior, does this action, does this doing, are these aligned with that person?
Yep.
And when you're constantly doing that, you start perfecting your programming. And when you start perfecting that through the laws, your reality is going to take its form, take its shape upon that person that you are. Because you don't get what you want, you get what you are. Let me give you guys an example in a business. Okay, what does that mean? A lot of people made mistakes, especially entrepreneurs. When they hear that, when they quit their job and they want to go start a business, since they don't have a good understanding, they make mistakes, they go and copy a business. What does that mean? For instance, they think they want to start a construction business, right? They want to start a construction business. They go and get a nice office, get a computer, get an accountant, get a truck, because they assume that anybody in construction has to have a truck. Anything that they go off of their knowing, right? Because they want to have a construction company, and they hear us saying, hey, if you want to become whoever you want to become, you need to go look at somebody who's already doing it and just do that. But there's a little, very, I'll say little, but it's very detailed that everybody misses. What is that? You're going and copying a physic. You're not copying that individual who has a company that you look toward to. You're not copying his causes. You're just copying his physic. And then you go in and you build this, you put this physic, nice physic together that you think the construction company has, and you're sitting there and nobody's calling. And you don't have to work. Why? Because you didn't know that individual that has a company that you look up to has a cause that create that result that you're seeing. His being, a state of being, is what creating that company for him, not the physics that he copied. So instead of going, and I said this, and we talked this more in depth in our business matrix classes, and instead of having to-do lists, go doing, you have to have a to-be list. You got to be it before you can do it. A lot of times we have a to-do list. Guess what? We're going to go do one or second item and third item. Nah, that's what I want to do. I changed my mind. I realized, and you give me a reason in your perception, which I call excuse, why not do it? Because you haven't become that person yet. So instead, what I was saying, you hold that image, who you want to become. Every step through the process, anytime you want to give up, ask yourself, who am I? And you go back to that image that you're holding. Oh, that's the person who I want to become. And then you take next action. So a lot of people make that mistake that they copy the physic. Physic is product of a representation of your cause and your image of your holding. Don't go just copy someone's physic and expect to get the same result.
Being is the key, and if you're not thinking from that state, you're not going to attract it. That's the law of the law of vibration. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. And if you're not operating from that being state, that means you are the owner, and you're doing the things that the owner has to do. Working on the cause, you're working on the company. You won't attract it. You miss the mark. Missing the mark because you weren't okay with being the center. That means you've got to be the cause to create the thing that you desire. A lot of people are always waiting on the sidelines. They're just kind of waiting on the sidelines, and they're waiting for somebody else to be the cause. Well, that's the same reason why they are on the sideline, because they were never willing to be the center. The center is the thing that's moving the object. The center is the thing that is thinking. The center is the thing that is always planning ahead. Before I speak, I'll hear you. He's thinking before he sees. But this is the reason why he's the center, because he's always had this creative imagination and this visioneering that he's always predetermining his reality, because he's seeing it before he's creating it. And he's okay with stepping into the unknown and becoming that visionary. He's okay with moving things forward and seeing them come into place. Our mind is programmed to be automatic, to think from the same place. This is why majority of the people stay stuck, and this is why they never grow. They didn't understand that their mind is programmed to be automatic. The mind is programmed to stay on target, to go back to your old behaviors. The average individual does not understand this information. They're always working with everything under the sun. The average individual is always working with everything under the sun. I don't do that. That means I'm thinking from my vision. I don't look at circumstances. I create the circumstances. The average individual is looking at everything under the sun, and from there, they choose. Go back to a vision. The vision will guide you and tell you how to get there. The vision will guide you. If you work towards a vision, that's from a higher vibration. That's from a higher knowing. In everything, there are two parts: myself and the thing to be dealt with. If I deal with myself, the outside circumstances will take care of themselves. If I deal with myself, then everything will start to take form from that. Maybe let's tap into a little bit of the subconscious mind and getting when people are getting stuck. What's happening to an individual whenever they don't understand this information? They have a vision.
Well, if they don't understand the information yet, or they haven't utilized it, it's basically they find a reason why they can't get things done. And I want to, I have a quote from Andrew Carnegie that he told Napoleon Hill, and I love it, and I've been reading this maybe over 100 times, and I can talk about it for a couple hundred hours, but I won't, because we don't have a lot of time. Any ideas that is held in mind that is either feared or revealed will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate physical form available. Any idea, that's how he starts. Any idea that is held in mind. So when we want to create new reality, we're still facing our paradigms that show themselves in most convenient way in our reality, in our circumstance. Let's say you come in and you hear the information, you like it, it sounds good. Then you hear that, hey, you need to ignore the circumstance or what other people say, and you say, okay, consciously. But when you turn around and go back, when you start paying attention, you're not doing what your conscious said you're going to do. You're going back to what your automatic is, which are the ideas that in your mind that are going to show themselves, they're going to affect your decisions and choices. Also, they're going to show up in your reality to show you why you shouldn't leave your comfort zone, why you shouldn't step into the unknown, why you shouldn't change your environment, why you shouldn't change your environment for better. It gives you all the reasons why. And if you don't keep coming, having faith, and keep coming and keep repeating, you're going to find a reason in your perception, which is going to be in most convenience way. And you want to convince everybody in the world why you think that way, and you're going to stay on it, and you're going to persist on it to tell us why you can't move forward. And you're not even aware of it, because your system or your subconscious automatic making that decision and create a reason for you. I talk about this all the time. What's the reason? We use reasoning as one of our higher faculties that is as a gift. And you know how we use it? We use it to create excuse. But to your way, it's reasoning. And you start using your imagination in the best way possible. Start thinking everything that you can, why it can be done, and you have a perfect reason. And instead, switching it and start thinking how it can be done.
You'll use your mind against yourself.
Yeah.
Conformity.
That's what happens. And you know, I can tell so many stories that really that we hold the image and we start doing things, and there's a lot of obstacles came our way, a lot, but we keep moving forward. And not that I don't make mistakes or I'm perfect. No, we're as we're growing, we're learning. But the reason we're studying this and doing this every day, why are we doing that? Reminding ourselves, right? And have a better understanding who we are. Because we forget during the day, we forget. Just today, right? Think about this today. How many times a day you start thinking about your purpose and who you are? Honesty. 30 seconds, max. The rest, you're so busy with everything else that to you is your life that you don't think about your purpose or think about who am I? Am I on my track? Am I following my purpose? Am I following who I am until my reality shapes itself around it? We're not doing that. That's why it's very important. Like Abraham a couple months ago told me, hey, Tal, we need to, every 30 minutes, an hour, we need to pause. And we need to do 5 minutes meditation and write. And somebody that doesn't know, they think, oh, that's ridiculous. Why would I stop 30 minutes, an hour, and start writing and start holding and start retracting, like reorganizing my mind? Because whether you like it, whether you want it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, you're creating. You're turning things, energy into form. So you want to get a hang of that. You want to manage that. You want to direct that.
Start thinking about what you're thinking about. Because again, the mind is programmed to be automatic. So the minute you're really not thinking, you went back to your automatic.
Yeah.
And you're thinking again from your old self-image.
Yeah. And that goes back to how precious life is. When truly grasp how precious your time is and your life is, and today is today and it won't come back, you make sure that you're putting all your effort and you're always aware of why am I thinking what I'm thinking, and this action, the next action I'm taking, does it align with who I am and my purpose?
Yep, your action ideas have to be in alignment with the purpose, and if they're not, you're going in the wrong direction. Action ideas, everything should. Am I living on purpose? Am I doing everything I'm doing? Am I doing it on purpose? And if you're not, you're off track again.
Mm-hmm.
As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. We must have the courage to not conform to the old understanding, but the courage to develop a new understanding to get to our definite and our true purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
If every second is not directed towards your purpose, and you're off track. The old program has you automatically, and you're going to start. You're thinking from that point. You're not going to create something new.
Yeah. Until you decide and create a new order.
Yep. But the new order can only come through what? A new vision. Mm-hmm. You will never get a new order, a new sequence of events, until you have the new vision and you're working towards that vision. That's the new order. A new world order can only come from you. That's the reason you're still living in the old world. The new order can only be framed up according to your own will, and held by your own vision, and work through you. It's got to be worked through you. Then is when you're actually bringing in a new order, a new sequence of events, and only then.
Yeah.
We're at our time. We're going to go into our meditation.